Nedbank says it took the decision to close Gupta-related accounts fearing business and reputational risks. CEO Mike Brown says this was on the back of, amongst other issues, adverse media reports on the family and then being dropped by auditors KPMG and sponsoring broker Sesfin Securities. The bank also says it has contractual rights to terminate relationships with clients. The confirmation by former Deputy Finance Minister SABC Jonas that he was offered a ministerial position by the family was another issue. Like the other banks, Nedbank was invited to meetings at the ANC headquarters and to an inter-ministerial committee meeting. Brown says he was made to believe that the finance minister would be part of the meeting with the inter-ministerial committee, but this was not the case. Brown says he interpreted it as a threat when Zwane questioned the other bank's refusal to meet with the inter-ministerial committee, given that banks received their license from government.
What caused me to believe that there was being pressure placed on the bank would have been a combination of the references to the licensing regime and beneath that the subtext around, be careful, things could happen to your license if you don't behave in a particular way. And secondly, the closure of the meeting, which effectively was a request for Nedbank to become the primary transactional bankers for the Gupta companies, given that other banks had terminated.
Dr. Daniel Kaufman gave evidence as an expert witness. He says countries in transition are usually vulnerable to state capture as institutions are still being developed. Kaufman says usually if a state is captured, the private sector grows and invests less.
We have done the work in the long term and in the medium term. The private sector, the competitive, the vibrant entrepreneurs, medium and small scale enterprises are much more constrained, and their growth, we studied it for these other countries in transition. The growth is less than half of the growth of the private sector in countries that are not captured. So the investments, it's much less in countries that are captured. Their results in terms of economic growth for the whole countries is much less. Health, education suffers as a result. The middle class and the poor usually have to pay the major brunt. In the very short and medium term, it can cause a recession.
The Commission announced that the implicated parties in the testimonies of the banks have been notified, but they are yet to respond. The Commission will on Thursday hear the application by former Public Enterprises Minister Brown for leave to cross-examine. SABC News, Johannesburg.